The ship you will see here in this video is still a work in progress and is subject to change, so don't take these stats etc. as final. Hello and welcome! Today I'm in the new Tier 6 British destroyer, the HMS Gallant, and this is my first impression of the ship. I think that the Gallant is a good all-around destroyer at Tier 6, that is, she is fairly good at all the things that you would expect from a destroyer, and she seems to only have one aspect that she is lacking in. What I mean by this is that the Gallant has very good concealment at 6 kilometers. I think only the Hatsuharu has better concealment at Tier 6. She has usable torpedoes with 8 kilometer range. They are reasonably fast and deal a reasonable amount of damage, and you get the British gimmick of being able to fire your torpedoes one by one. However, her torpedo arcs are kind of lacking a little bit, but you can play around that. Now she also has usable smokescreen that seems somewhat similar to Japanese smokescreens on destroyers. She also gets pretty good guns. They aren't as good as Soviet destroyer guns in terms of damage or shell arcs. The shell arcs are more akin to US destroyers, and the damage output is something like 10%-ish less than Soviet destroyers. Now, she is also really maneuverable and fairly fast, and due to her size, she is a fairly difficult target to hit as well. Now, her torpedo reload is kind of lacking, and the other thing is, and the aspect that she is most lacking in is, well, anti-air. She has 20% higher anti-air DPS than the Shinonome, which puts her at 4.2 anti-air DPS. Yes, 4.2, so basically it's non-existent. However, due to your fairly good maneuverability and the fact that it's a Tier 6 ship, I think that the Gallant can deal quite fine with anti-air. Now, you see us fight this Omaha because we have an entire group here on fault line, and, as a Gallant, you can still use the guns, so that's actually fairly nice. And the turret traverse is pretty good as well, so you're not going to be waiting on that either. But now that we have taken the C cap here and the Omaha is definitely going to be finished off, I suppose that I should try to move towards the B cap. Maybe I will be able to torpedo something on the way there, or maybe get into a gunfight. Now, because I don't have a special captain for British destroyers, I simply used my Belfast captain, which is 19 points. However, it's specialized on the Belfast, that is, she has skills like IFAG. Now it's surprisingly actually useful. You might think, how? Well, you see, battleships at Tier 6 and 7 have 25mm of bow aft, and some of them have 25mm of deck armor as well. And 120mm caliber guns that this ship has have 20mm of HE penetration normally. However, with IFHE that is bumped up to 26, which means that you will be able to penetrate the deck armors of Tier 7 and below battleships, which is actually a fairly nice thing. Now, her damage output isn't the greatest, of course. However, I found that in the games I played, most of my shells, HE shells, ended up actually penetrating and dealing damage, which was actually really nice. However, of course, you have to then understand that when you fire your guns, you can't go try to torpedo a ship as easily. And, the Gallant can actually do that at Tier 6, because she has good concealment and, usable torpedo range. So I'm approaching the B cap, which we will most likely take, and I guess I will simply open fire on this gasoline here, mostly because I might as well. I don't really expect them to shoot me back, and even if they do, I should be able to at least somewhat maneuver around it. Not to mention I also have a smokescreen still, so if I ever need that I can use that one as well. So we found the Minakaza here, which is going to be a nice target, because she is fairly close, so my guns will be quite useful here. Although, I seem to have some potato aim right now, please ignore that one. And we are now capping the B cap as well, which is a good thing. I don't want to stay around too long, because I was targeted at least for a moment by two ships, so that could be an issue. I'm thinking of using a smoke right here. And then, you know, just sitting there and shooting the König. Or I guess alternatively I could go and try to torpedo the König. That would actually be an even better decision. Although it depends on how she is going to move. Okay, let's just smoke here instead, because the König is getting closer, so I will have my opportunity to torpedo anyway, most likely at least. And I will simply sit here and try to shoot the König. Now, of course, when you deal with German battleships, they usually are an exception to the rule of what other battleships follow, in that they have really weird armor schemes. So, you know, the IFHE thing doesn't really pay off as much. König is like one of those ships I really don't like shooting at as a... well, anything, I guess. Even a battleship. So instead, I will be shooting this Colorado that is mostly standing still. And that was 1000 damage on one salvo. Another 1000 damage on the next salvo, and, you know, it'll keep repeating. My tarps are on the way on the König, so hopefully they will hit, and we are capping the B-cap. Now, one thing that oh, and the torpedoes are actually hitting the König, and she actually took 4 of them and sank. That's actually really, really nice. Oh, and as far as torpedo detectability goes, I think she was really, really good at that. Something like 1.3 kilometer torpedo detectability, but I'm not 100% certain right now on the numbers. I think that was it. Okay, so I keep shelling the Colorado. Oh, one thing that she is lacking in though, somewhat as well, is maximum range on guns. You can of course boost it with AFD, but you know, look at the shell arcs. Do you really want to take AFD on this ship? I'm not so sure, but maybe. Maybe. It's hard to tell what the best kind of build would be, and I don't think I'm going to actually try to use one, at least unless I actually buy the ship eventually. And I actually might, because this is a fairly nice tier 6 destroyer. Usually my problem with tier 6 destroyers is that, for instance, the Farragut has a good smokescreen, a good gun, or decent damage output with guns. However, her torpedo range is basically non-existent, and her concealment range is really, really bad as well. Or alternatively, we can look at the Soviet destroyers that are also lacking in some aspects while they're fine in others. But this ship, I think, is it's just a really, really nice mix of basically all of them. She isn't like super good at anything, but she isn't super bad at anything either, other than, again, anti-air, I guess. So, I mean, we have taken the B and C caps, so, and because actually our teams are fairly even in terms of the number of ships, I'm thinking of just pushing into the A cap here. And we should be able to take that Budyonny, and, you know, maybe I can torpedo that Nagato. I mean, the torpedoes on the König were quite successful, right? I'm gonna use speed boost, and I'm really, really tempted to just start my guns on that Budyonny, because or the gasoline, because that would just deal damage, and they would probably have to switch targets on me, and you know, I can then use my smoke screen. I tried firing AP on the gasoline to see how much damage it dealt, and you know, it did quite a bit of damage, but I think HE at these kinds of angles is going to be somewhat more successful. I can get behind an island soon, if necessary. Right now I don't feel like it is, I still have a lot of HP left. Although that salvo just hurt quite a bit. However, I think that she is going to go down somewhat soon. And the fire is also very nice in this situation, because that either forces her to use damage control party or to keep burning, and because she has very little health, she obviously cannot keep burning. Okay, the gasoline is further away, so I guess I'll try to take some longer range shots. And you know, I have to also try to take some shots on the Budyonny, or I can and would like to. Okay, I got the fire on the Budyonny, that is excellent, but she also just used damage control party, which is slightly less excellent. Oh, another fire. Okay, the Budyani is down, so... Oh, never mind. I don't have spotting anymore. And now I have a Nagato here at 5.7 kilometers that I guess I will try to chase. Okay, the Budyani went down. Also, remember that this is a tier 7 battleship, and due to IFHE, my HE shells will penetrate quite often. And I mean, so far, they have just been dealing damage and damage. Well, you might go, oh, it's only 1000 damage, but 1000 damage every few seconds adds up quite quickly. Plus, you know, you can also get fires and stuff. I would like to try to hit the aft of the Nagata to try to set a fire there, but I guess it's not really happening. I will try to fire torpedoes on her predicted course. I'm not quite sure if they will reach, and oh, it's the gasoline. Okay, let's try to fight you. I need to pay attention to her torpedoes. I am fairly hurt right now, but I think the gasoline should go down now. Okay, excellent. She is down. For some reason she kept firing AP. That made no sense. But now I will just smoke up here and then just keep shooting the Nagato with my guns and try to reverse back into the cap zone. Because I mean, I have already assisted in 3 caps, so... Sorry, 2 caps, and I might as well try to get the 3rd one, right? Oh, and I think one of the torps might actually hit. Come on, yep, one of them hit, and it caused the flooding. And I think the Nagata doesn't actually have damage control party, so that flooding damage is also going to add up to this. And, well, that Nagata is pretty much toast. I don't really see how she would survive this. And there she goes. And I am still alive with my 921 HP. You know, at least... Oh, never mind. I wanted to say that at least my division mate Robin had less HP, but that's not actually true. He unfortunately has 5 more HP than I do. But at this point this game is pretty much over. I mean, we have all the 3 cap zones, we are at 900 points, and there's the game. So I did 104,000 damage, got 5 torpedo hits, sunk 3 ships, and I was number 1 in experience, almost 1800. So I have to say that this ship just feels really nice. I just don't have that many complaints with this ship. She doesn't feel massively overpowered, nor does she feel underwhelming. I actually really enjoyed playing her. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, Admiral Fettgesicht, and I hope I see you guys next time.